back again. Uh, so uh, when I was about around 16, uh, those things, like being interested in science, not expressing traditional views, uh, spending time with guys listening to rock music, and again still being separated from other people, kind of started, yeah, like all those things being very, starting to being very important to other people, uh, other people noticing that I was different and telling me about this and trying to push me into the needed direction. Uh, those things started to shape into something. Um, now, again, I heard many people talk about, when they talk about puberty, they talk about the change in their body, and I wasn't really concerned with it. Um, I didn't have anything against my vagina or something. Um, I was I wasn't very happy with my body, uh, mostly because first I looked like cute. I had that like funny little face, and I didn't want to look like that. I wanted like to be serious and tough, and I don't know, stuff like that. Um, and also, I was a pretty awkward looking child, like tall and bony with long, again, bony legs with huge feet, and uh, I always felt that I'm like too big to be in the room. I felt like I'm that like ancient Chinese vase that just somebody carries around, like going to some other people's house and like carrying that vase with them. I was that vase, but I didn't have any. Uh, I didn't feel any hate towards my body. I mostly felt uh, that, well, I didn't like that society paid that much attention towards bodies, and it was so important. I, like, if I were asked, I would say that I want, I want, I don't know, I want people to exist as a, I don't know, black bag or something with just eyes, or like invisible creatures with just minds, because that's what was important for me, not how people looked. So I wished that uh, the importance of looks would just go away, just vanish, which it didn't. But um, what I'm saying here, I didn't have those usual problems with accepting my body or changes in that or stuff like that. Um, my main problem was with yeah, expectations of society and me feeling separated and not like my peers. So there was an underlying issue in all of that, um, which kind of like, well, I talked before about that. I had troubles, telling people that I am what I am. You don't decide who you are, who I am. Sorry, uh, like I exist as I do, not as you think you do. And I didn't, I didn't just have troubles saying that. I had troubles feeling that and thinking that. So by the time I was like, 14, 15, 16, first I experienced lots of shit in my family and with other children. Uh, and it was all in the same area of me being not me, me being like nothing, or like something people uh, see, something people see me as, if that's a sentence, I don't know. So I had this. I really had a lot of trouble seeing myself as a person. I was really confused about myself. I didn't really think that I was me. I didn't feel myself. I thought that I was that person other people shaped, other people imagined. And it was a very crazy thing to feel, because it's kind of like being dead and tortured at the same time. Uh, and it wasn't a very happy time. I wouldn't like to go back to that situation ever again. Uh, but that underlying dissociation issue started to influence my gender identity, because again, I was very disappointed in society. I was very dissatisfied with what people expected me to do, with what they valued, with what they talked about, with how they spent their time. And I also was very interested again in science, not in the gossiping and like romantic relationships and shit like that. So, and people expected me to be into that. People expected me to try that girly stuff, to be all about makeup and ponies and fucking rainbows. Uh, and I wasn't, and I was quite pissed, I guess. Uh, and it started to, yeah, uh, to shape me into a person who, well, I started to question not only my personality but also my gender, uh, with the help of other people constantly telling me that I wasn't like a girl, I was like a boy. So in my mind, it started to. Um, yeah, I started to associate maleness with. Uh, well, no, first I started to. Like, all the things that I thought about when somebody said to me, like, woman, girl, female, were those, like, emotional, romantic states with, like, tears and I don't know, happiness. I was very opposed to happiness, and the fucking traditional church kitchen and children stuff. Uh, and I didn't like it. I felt completely indifferent to that. It just didn't. I don't know. It wasn't for me. So the things that were for me, I started to think that things I liked, like all the logical, rational, sciencey things, I started to associate them with maleness and with men and guys, which wasn't true, because the reality wasn't like that. I wasn't surrounded by scientists or fucking philosophers. I was surrounded by regular guys who ended up being dead at 30 because they became drunks or something. Um, but that was what I was imagining. Uh, that was how I felt. So, uh, yeah, kind of like sexuality added to that, because, again, my tastes, yeah, they were kind of weird. I wasn't interested in, uh, guys my age. I wasn't interested in that traditional romantic relationship, and, like, uh, spending time together and having walks and like introducing each other to parents and like being together, stuff like being in love. It wasn't my thing, uh, and my sexuality was kind of weird at the time. Uh, Again, I felt it was different, and uh, at the time, like internet started to appear in my country, so I had access to it, and I read, and I had lots of new information, and I read a lot about the issue, and like finally I started to think, okay, if I am not into those girls things, maybe I'm not a girl, maybe I'm not a woman, maybe I'm a man. Because well, everybody is telling me that I'm like a guy, um, and again, this is something I really want to say again and again. Apart from the punk rock thing and uh, yeah, being uh, against the general society, the culture, which again, those guys, they weren't. They were regular guys who just wanted to get wasted, and like they were still, they held the same views, like the same traditional views, like uh, no gays, no freedom, no freedom of speech, no liberty for women, like yeah, the same old shit, but they didn't talk about it, and they weren't so serious as the girls became, like at the end of my school years. So I didn't know that. I didn't feel like that. So I really started to think, okay, maybe I am a man, and I started to consider that maybe I should do something about it. Maybe like when I'm older, I could go and change my sex, and before that, I should do something that I can do now. And I started to, well, I tried to look uh, sort of butchy, and like punk rock butch again. So yeah, and I was reading certain types of literature. I was spending my time in a certain, like, that kind of like masculine way, and yeah, my looks was were very important to me. That I was trying to maintain this uh, yeah, boyish appearance, um, like tough appearance actually, and I was getting more and more pissed with each year because um, the older I got, the more people would tell me that I should become different. I should behave differently. People started to force me into like getting a romantic relationship, thinking about white dress and stuff like that. And I I became very angry, and it saddens me a lot. But I became angry not at the people who were telling me that. Well, at them too, but my uh, the hate I felt, it mainly was uh, at the female things. So I I was thinking that everything female is like stupid, it's nonsense, it's nauseating, it's fucking shit. And I tried really hard to distance myself from it, and it all like spiraled from that point. Uh, so I was like that butchy girl who used male pronoun when I was talking, and I was all like non-emotional, like kind of a little bit rude, like not caring about what other people think of me, or at least like giving that attitude, showing that attitude, and uh, yeah, being really, really against everything people people were doing, people around me were doing. Um, so that was the situation I got into when I was like 16, 17, till I was like 20, I guess. Um, Luckily it changed, and I'm going to talk about uh, like how it changed and how I am now in the next video. So for now, again, bye.